Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another review for you guys. And today, we're going to have my full review of the Blue Studio X Plus. Now, before I get started, I just want to say, I know I did this a little bit faster than the other reviews that I've shot, but I really feel like after using this phone heavily for as long as I did, it's been about a week, I really think I know everything that I wanted to cover in my review. So y'all know how it is. When I wrap it up, I shoot. So let's get into this. Alright, so starting off, let's talk about the build quality. And I must say, the build quality on this device is it's good. It's good. Didn't have any issues. Now, as y'all know from my unboxing, this is a used device, so it does have a few dings here and there, but that doesn't affect how I use that device whatsoever. Now, one downside to the build quality, I would say, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's not coming. Yeah, you can see it, but right there, I have a scratch on the back. That was from my car keys and my house keys. And now, yeah, I really would. That could have been better, but that's what happens when you have your phone in your pocket with your keys. But other than that, the build quality has been quite nice. Now, moving right along here, let's talk about the display. Now, what we have up front, dead center here, is a 5.5 inch IPS display, and I must say that I might be a little biased because y'all already know I like my 5.5 inch displays here, and I must say that the display is quite good. And let's see, I believe it's a 720p display. Let's just double check that real quick. Yep, you can see right there. So it's a 720p display with 320 DPI. So, and I must say, it's a beautiful display. You can see everything clear, everything crisp, no issues. Now I know y'all might be saying, but it's not 1080p. I mean, for the average user, a 720p display is great, and you know it doesn't draw as much power, so that's a plus. So the display is solid. It's got some nice viewing angles there, and it does get fairly bright outdoors. I don't have to crank it up high, but let me show y'all on full brightness. That is very bright. It's actually hurting my eyes, but that's what full brightness look like right there. And that's beautiful. Now, so the display is definitely solid. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the hardware and the software that's in this guy. So, hardware wise, what we have in here is 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of storage, with micro SD card expansion up to 64 gigs. We have a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz MediaTek processor. I think it is the yes, it's the MK6582. So it's a little bit older processor, but it runs quite smoothly. Software-wise, we're looking at a near stock build of Android here, and I know out of the box I was running KitKat, but I did receive the over-the-air update to 5.0, not 5.1.1, but 5.0, as you can see right there. So that was nice. 5.0.2, I'm sorry. So we are running Lollipop on this guy. And there's the Easter egg, which I suck at. I never made it past one. Yeah. Other than that, I would say it's pretty stock. You have all your stock features here. So, nice job, Blue. I really like they didn't overskin it this time. So, that's a plus. Now, moving on, let's talk about the glitches, stutters, and crashes I had while I used this device. Now, didn't have too many issues, but I did notice that with heavy usage, like non-stop usage, let's say I was playing a game or switching between games for like a couple hours straight, I did notice that when I came out, it would drop Wi-Fi and drop data and put me into emergency calls only. But then it would reconnect my data and it would still be on emergency calls, and it would reconnect my Wi-Fi. Yeah. Other things. Now in the setting, I'm the type of guy that doesn't like to have the Wi-Fi go off. So I usually leave Wi-Fi running all the time. In the settings, there's a setting for that. Here, let me show you. That you make it so the Wi-Fi never goes to sleep. Here, if I go to advanced, whoops, let me turn it back on. Turn it back on. Sorry about that, guys. Then I go in and I go to advanced here. You can see right there, keep Wi-Fi on during sleep, always. Now, what that does is that even when the phone is put to sleep, the Wi-Fi should always be on. Now, there have been times where I put my phone down for like, let's say 30 minutes, and I cut it back on, and then right there, you see, the Wi-Fi is off. The Wi-Fi shouldn't have went off, and it has to reconnect. That's just a thing there. Don't really like that. I would consider that a glitch, because if you have it so it's supposed to stay on, then it's supposed to stay on. Other than that, didn't really have any other glitches aside from that. I would say software runs very smoothly, no issues. It's also very fluid and snappy, no issues. So no other glitches aside from those. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the Wi-Fi in this guy. Wi-Fi wise, where we got 802.11 BG and N. No AC on this guy. But the Wi-Fi is quite good. And to give you an example, just going to run a video real quick. Show you guys, let me see, let me go to one of my videos real fast. Show you guys real quick. And let me turn this up. Get an idea of the volume while we're here. So the volume's at half. So let me pick the unboxing video. Okay, guys. And you see it loads right up, so I'm gonna let it play a few seconds. For you guys today. And sorry if it's been a long time since my last video. You know how it is. Can't do it unless you have the funds. And then let me scrub through real fast. Because I have been hearing reports that when you buy the Studio G, it doesn't come with a cable. Alright, so as you can see right there, the Wi-Fi has no problems. It didn't buffer. It loads up right away. Wi-Fi is solid. Now, and as you can hear from the speakers are okay. Now, there is an issue I have with the speakers where if you turn it up to max volume, you do hear a little bit of it's like a tweet or like a rattly sound, but other than that, it's good. But I'll cover more on that when we get to the speakers and call quality section. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the data in this guy. Now, what we have here is this running HSPA Plus. Now, It's not really LTE or 4G, but they call it that. So as y'all can see, as y'all saw when I was showing you, oops, yeah, as I was showing you this, when I cut my Wi-Fi off, you'll see my 4G pop up. Now it's not really 4G, that's HSPA plus, but they call it 4G. So it is what it is. And 4G speeds have been quite good. Let me go to some speed tests that I did so y'all can see the comparison between Wi-Fi and data. So now the ones at the top here, those are data, the three at the top. Now those are some low numbers, but out there in real usage, I didn't have any issues with connecting my GPS or streaming video through my data at all. So those are just numbers. The service was actually quite strong, and as you can see, the Wi-Fi was really strong as well. But the Wi-Fi really depends on your setup or the setup where you are at that time. So as you can see, data-wise, didn't have any issues. Now, moving right along, let's talk about some of the connectivity when it comes to data in this guy. Now, I usually talk about the bands that the phones support, but I couldn't really find the bands. I went through all the sites that I usually check, and I know there's an engineering mode you can put the phone in to check the actual bands, but I'm not entirely sure how to do that. So I was kind of scared to get into all that. I mean, I'm a normal guy. I know there's a way to do it. I'm scared I might mess something up, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But I will tell you that this works on all GSM carriers: AT&T, T-Mobile, Metro PCS, Cricket, all of them. And I've actually tested this on T-Mobile and Cricket, and it works no problem. You put the card in, you make sure it's lined up, it pops right on. You don't even have to mess around with no APNs or anything like that. So data wise and support wise, I think you should be good to go if you have any GSM carrier. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Bluetooth in this guy. Now this has Bluetooth 4.0, I believe it is, and the Bluetooth is actually really good. It cuts on fast, it pairs up fast. I've had no issues with the Bluetooth. And I've actually hit the wrong one, sorry guys. And as you can see, let me go to settings. I actually paired up my headphones. It's trying to connect to it right now, but it's not turned on, and it paired up no problem. I actually did try to transfer some files in between phones, no problem, but I actually erased those. So Bluetooth, no problem. Now moving on, let's talk about the GPS in this guy. Now GPS wise, it's actually pretty good. I did have one instance where it was telling me to make a U-turn when I was navigating somewhere. If I remember, I think I was going to the bank. It was telling me to make a U-turn, and I can clearly see that I didn't actually have to make one. So that was a little bit that might be a software issue, you know. But other than that, because I use GPS to go all over the place, y'all already know I'm not directional savvy, so GPS is my lifesaver, for lack of a better word, and didn't have any problems with the GPS. Signal locked on quick, navigation was very good. Didn't have any drops when I was navigating. Didn't really have to recalculate unless I made a wrong turn. So that was actually pretty good. So GPS is pretty solid. Next, let's talk about the call quality in this guy here. So overall, I would say that receiver quality and speaker quality were very good. Now, if I had one issue with it, is that during calls, although people on the other end said I sounded loud and crisp and clear, I do wish that it would get a little bit louder. It seems a little bit low to me. I might just be getting old, guys. I don't know. I found myself trying to raise the volume when I was on the call, only to see that it was maxed out. Now, other than that, speaker calls, even though this is a rare firing speaker, were quite nice. Now, I do have a few issues with rare firing speakers. One, they're very easy to muffle. So I was on a few calls and I could hear it just fine like this, but let's say I need to do something and I put it down, then it became a tad bit muffled. But that is what it is. That's one of the gripes that you have with rare firing speakers. You get used to it. Now, it would have been nice if they put it on the front or the bottom. That make it better, but it is what it is. But other than that, speaker and call quality was very nice. Now, I usually play a song, but I've been having a lot of copyright issues, so that's why I just boosted the volume in the YouTube video, trying to avoid some of those copyrights. But speaker quality is quite good, except for that tinniness you have when you turn the volume up all the way. I don't understand what that is. It shouldn't have that tinny. It's like a tinny hiss. It shouldn't have that. So that might be, the speakers might be need some work soon. But other than that, if you don't play it at max volume, or if you hook it up to a Bluetooth headset, no issues. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about the cameras in this guy, and let's go over the interface before we look at some samples. So the camera interface is fairly straightforward. You have your modes across the top. You got your panorama, you got your beauty face, you got all that. You got HDR, you got flash, autofocus, all that face detection. And cameras wise, it's an 8 megapixel sensor, sorry, and you can see it focuses quite fast, so that's good. And I must say that I kind of like this camera because it's very straightforward, and you know, stuff are very easy to find. Now, video wise, it shoots it has 8 megapixels, but you have electronic image stabilization, and it kind of helps, but not really. So y'all already know I'm handicapped. I have CP, so when I'm shooting videos or taking pictures, my hands are quite shaky, and you'll see from the video samples later that yeah, it was very shaky. I'd just like to apologize about that. But other than my shaky hands, if you can get good lighting, you'll have a decent picture. So now let's look at some samples. Let me back out of this gallery here. Scroll to the top. Let's start with some video samples. Alright, so we have here, turn this up. Is a front-facing camera test on the Blue Studio X Plus. And this is 2 megapixels on the front-facing camera. Wonder how the audio is gonna sound. Can't really see it right now. It's a beautiful day. It's 88 degrees. And yes, I know some of y'all got 88 degrees, and we're almost pushing winter time. Okay, so that was the front-facing camera, and you can see the video is actually quite good. I don't know if my camera did it justice, but it did wash out some because of how bright it was outside. So you can see it kind of washed out the tips of the trees there. But you kind of have to find a nice shaded area where the light is nice and balanced, and you'll have a nice solid video. And I think that pretty much goes for any camera these days. So now I just showed you the front. I think this is the rear. Alright, so what we have here is a video test of the rear facing camera on the Blue Studio X Plus. And I think this is supposed to shoot in 1080p at 30 frames per second. See something here? Check out the zoom here. So, zooms pretty well. And there's focus as well, so you can touch the focus while in video. Sorry about the shaky hands. Let's zoom out. Alright. So that was the rear facing camera there. And it was really good. Now, if we get into some video samples here, picture samples, sorry guys, you'll see that they, first of all, let me show you real quick. You see that moving GIF there? They have like a live photo feature where it takes a few shots on burst mode and then it stitches them together. That was really cool. I didn't really get much because I didn't realize it was doing it, and it happened a few times. So as you can see, on one you kind of just got the ground and my fingers, and on the other I'm kind of trying to set up and find the right lighting for the video and taking some pictures, and it's just moving around. But that was quite good. Now if we move indoors and you have good lighting here, you can see the pictures come out quite nice. Let me flip it this way. And if you zoom in, you see you do get a lot of details there. So that was nice. Now, if we move on, let me find a lower light shot. You can see, now as it gets lower, you maintain some detail, but you lose a lot. Y'all know I like to use pennies and money to catch as much detail as possible. I think it makes a nice shot. You get detail, but you lose a lot as the lights go down here. And then let me see if I could find one. These were the outside shots, and like I said, it tends to wash out the tops of the trees because of how bright it is. I don't know if it can handle the exposure too well, but let me see if I can find a nighttime shot to show you guys real fast. This is some more indoor shots, and it came out really nice. So, and then this is from the front facing camera. I know it's just a smoke detector, guys, but I didn't have a lot of stuff to use there, and I don't really like selfies too much. Not the selfie guy, so it is what it is. Now, as you zoom in with the front facing camera, you lose a lot of detail. So just keep your selfies at a distance, otherwise it's gonna look very pixelated there. Just wanted to get that. Now, moving on. Okay, so this was really low light here, and as you can see, it kind of gave my skin like an orange tint, but it still managed to catch most of the detail in the cord. Kind of washed out my computer in the background, and then this is absolutely no light with the flash on. So the flash actually did a good job, and it came out really well. So, and then here's another one, and then there's the other end of the cable. Once again, gave me a nice little orange hue. So just keep in mind, guys, if you want to get some good shots, you're going to need to get some good lighting. If not, you might have some issues. Now, moving on, let's talk about gaming on this guy. And gaming, was actually pretty good. I believe the GPU in here is a Mali 400 GPU, if I remember correctly. Let me see if I still have it. Yes, it's a Mali 400. So, and it handles games quite well. And these are all the games that I tested. So, Fruit Ninja, Asphalt 8, Subway Surfers, Mortal Kombat. Now, no issues with these. But real quick, just so y'all get a sense in real time, gonna load up a graphic intensive one here. Gonna load up Asphalt 8. I'm just gonna let that load up so you can see how long it would take in real time. Not too bad, a few minutes. But it's to be expected. And then keep in mind it only has 1 gig of RAM as well, so it's actually quite fast for what it is. So let's just give it a minute here, and you can see it's ready to go. So let's go ahead, sign me in, and we're gonna exit advertisement, find somewhere to race at, and next, and start race. And you can see move fairly quickly. So now gonna let it load up, gonna play a few seconds for you guys, then we'll move on. And another thing, while I'm here, if you do a lot, like you have to do a lot, and I'm sorry guys, but I'm kind of a power user when it comes to this. Like when I really get into something, I use it non-stop, right? And let's see, I was gaming for, turn it down some, so I can tell you, I was gaming for about 4 hours off and on, and it did get warm by the camera module there. But other than that, oh, I think it flipped on me, and I crashed. Just trying to show you something, and I crashed. So now, let's just play a little bit. Can't really play too good behind the camera. Keep crashing. I actually should have picked a better stage. But it works. And it looks pretty good. So, that's that. I'm actually very bad at this game, guys. Don't judge. Yeah. But you see, it doesn't stutter. It's very fluid. It's pretty good. Now, let's move on. So let me get out of that real quick. And yeah. Holding that the wrong way. So that's the gaming, guys. It was actually really solid. So let's move on. Now let's talk about some benchmarks. And y'all know how I feel about the benchmarks. It's just numbers, but I still like to run them anyway. Because hey, it's demanding for the CPU and GPU, and it kind of gives you a sense from a number standpoint what the phone can do. But as of daily use, all you really need, and I think I've said it before, is the right combination of software and hardware. So you can see this is from Valemo. This is the multi-core test. Didn't score too high, not bad, decent, 1109. I didn't really sync it up online like I usually do, so you can see how it compares with everybody else. Doesn't really matter. And then this is the metal test, 733. And then this is the Geekbench 3 scores. So as you can see, the single core score is quite low, but the multi-core score, although it's low, it's decent. And then this is from Ice Storm Unlimited. So And yeah. And this is quadrant. And then last, N22. So, not the best when it comes to benchmarks. But, usage-wise, it's very fluid, it's very smooth. I haven't had any issues. Now, this brings us to the battery life. Now, y'all already know my scenarios when it comes to battery life. I got a heavy, I got a moderate, and I got a light. Now, heavy usage wise, I got about, I think I took a screenshot here. Got about 8 hours of screen on time. Let me see, is it this one? Alright, yeah, so it was this one. So you can see, this one particular day, from about 6 p.m. till almost 4, and I was really pushing it hard, and I got about 8 hours of screen on time, almost 9. I could probably let it go for a little bit more, but that was really heavy use. Now, if we go back, this is with moderate use, and you see, with moderate use, you can easily get through the day, and I was just about to crack 5 hours, so the battery life is good. Standby times are really good, because, you know, I charged it, and I went to bed, it was at like 96, I woke up, it was at 94, so standby times are really good. And one night I forgot to charge it, I went to bed, it was like 56, I woke up, and it was like at 49, so that's not too bad. Now, light usage wise, I couldn't really test that, because as I've said, I really like big phones, and